Do you ever ask yourself why you're always so far behind in the laning phase every single time, or why are you also so far behind everyone else in terms of souls at the end of the game? Well, I can answer those questions for you today. Over the last few games, I've noticed a pattern that ensures you stay ahead of your enemies, allowing you to dominate the entire match and deal massive damage in every fight. There are honestly 3 phases to this game that everyone always talks about: the early game, mid game, and late game. Yeah. You've heard it a million times, but what does that actually mean? I don't know what that means either, but I can tell you one thing: farming is the key objective in each of these phases, and I'll walk you through how to farm efficiently and effectively during each of these phases. Well, Jason, why is farming so important? Shouldn't I be focusing on kills and objectives? Yes, objectives and kills will at the end of the day win you the game, but you can't do that if the enemy has 2 more items than you because all you did was sit in lane and bash your head against the wall trying to get a turret. Meanwhile, they were farming their jungle, your jungle, and collecting all the boxes on the ground. Oh, you didn't know about the boxes? That's why you should subscribe for more tips and tricks. Starting with the early phase, I don't care what the matchup is. I don't want to hear, oh, but the enemy is a lane bully, he counters me. You can win every time if you understand the following concepts. Concept number 1, you need to understand how soul mechanics work. When you kill a minion, you get souls. An additional soul will always pop out. For 10 minutes, you get half of your souls from last hitting and the other half after you last hit the final soul. However, this means that the enemy can and will deny you your creeps if you're not quick enough to last hit your soul. If you don't last hit and the enemy gets it, not only are you losing half of your potential souls, but the enemy gains an advantage and can get to their items quick. This will put you in a tough spot if you let them deny you too many times. One thing I want to mention here is that you should try to melee your minions when you can, because you will automatically get all the souls without worrying about last hitting. Concept number 2, the reverse is also true. If you're able to bully your lane opponent by continuously denying them their minions, you are increasing your total soul potential in the early game while hindering the enemy. This means you can get your items quicker and snowball the lane into kills and objectives. While getting kills early game is helpful, it's not always guaranteed. What is guaranteed is playing safe, poking the opponent when they are trying to last hit a minion. Half the time, this allows you to deny them or be ready to deny them once they've last hit the minion. Concept number 3, jungle camps. At the 2-minute mark, single tier jungle camps appear next to your lane. This is indicated by a single triangle on your map. This is free gold, but you need to know when to take it. This depends on the character and the matchup, but you should take it as early as possible since it takes 4 minutes to respawn. You should not take it if you are being pushed in constantly by the enemy, as they can deal a decent amount of damage to you and potentially kill you if you're not careful. Ideally, you should take this after pushing your lane into the enemy's tower and when you are healthy enough to take some damage, as you are still very weak in the early laning phase. Concept number 4, boxes and statues. If you really want to maximize efficiency in this game, you've got to think about breaking the little boxes and statues scattered across the map. These spawn at the 3-minute mark. Once you play long enough, you'll know where many of these spawn. There will be boxes and statues to the side of your lane. Your opponent will have some and you will have some as well. Sometimes you don't get anything, but other times you will get extra souls, extra damage, health, or ammunition, all of which can significantly add up by the end of the game. If you aren't constantly getting these, I can assure you your enemy will. Concept number 5, keeping track of souls and buying items. I am actually terrible at keeping track of my souls. I've died numerous times with 10,000 plus souls, losing a bunch of unsecured souls each time, so don't be like me. One of the perks of having your first tier turret up is access to the shop. You need to go back every 500 souls to gain an edge over your opponent. If you're not constantly going back, you're trolling because you're losing out on damage and health, which could turn the tide of a fight had you remembered to go back and shop. What's funny is that your character will constantly remind you that you have money.
Might be time to go shopping.
So if you haven't been paying attention, start listening for it as a helpful reminder. To recap quickly, the objective of your lane is to last hit as much as possible. Poke the enemy while they are trying to last hit and create opportunities to deny their farm, all while staying safe as possible. When 2 minutes approach, try to push the enemy tower to create an opportunity for your jungle camp. When 3 minutes come around, look to destroy boxes and statues around your lane, and of course when you hit 500 souls, run back to the shop, buy your item, and get back into the action. Doing this will give you a lead each time. Even if it's a slight lead, you will never fall behind if you execute correctly. I can't help with your aim, but the training mode can. I suggest practice last hitting. Instead of telling you how many souls you get when you last hit, It actually tells you how quickly you secure it, which I think is a super helpful tool for consistency. Moving on to the mid to late game. I'm going to cover both the mid game and late game in one section because I think that how you farm during these stages is pretty fluid, but you should still understand these concepts to formulate your game plan. At minute 7, your tier 2 and tier 3 camps are unlocked throughout the map. If you've dominated the opponent in lane by following my early game guide, you can start farming your tier 2 monsters around the map after pushing your lane. Be wary of doing so because you are still weak and you can easily lose your tier 1 turret if you underestimate how easily the enemy can push and destroy it. It's not the end of the world if you lose it, but you will lose easy access to a shop in your lane. Don't even think about doing tier 3 camps until you've gotten something like Ricochet or enough damage to do them in less than 30 seconds, or until you have a teammate nearby to help. It's honestly a waste of time for the most part until around 15 to 20 minutes when you've scaled. At minute 10, the game gets much more interesting and a lot of new concepts are introduced. The biggest one is how souls are shared and received. Before 10 minutes, 100% of souls went to champions in the vicinity. So if there are 2 of you in lane and you kill a minion worth 100 souls, you both get 100 souls, resulting in a net of 200 souls. After 10 minutes, it's reduced to half, meaning that 100 souls are split between the 2 of you, with both receiving only 50 souls. This means it's terrible to stay in lane with someone else if you want to hyper carry because you'll be sharing the farm. This means you'll need to turn to the jungle for tier 1 and tier 2 camps as well as boxes and statues for extra gold. Another significant addition to gaining gold is the urn. Securing the urn will grant you and your team a large sum of souls that will give you a big edge. So think about going to the lane where the urn will end up and tell your team to grab it so you can farm while securing a key objective. To recap, during the mid to late game, you should aim to farm in areas where your teammates are not, as this will maximize your soul potential. Souls are split after 10 minutes, so farming alone ensures you get the most out of it. Here's how you should approach it. Push into the enemy's defensive structures, and if possible, take their tier 1 and tier 2 camps, as well as their boxes and statues. Then, take your own tier 1 and tier 2 camps. Rinse and repeat. This strategy guarantees you'll be the top soul farmer by the end of each game. Results may vary depending on your execution. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps a ton. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.